Well, good morning. I have a little bit of work to do on the Monarch 10EE sensitive precision toolmakers lathe, as they describe it. And it is a little bit sensitive as far as adjustments, and I found I have a little overcompensated for what I want to do with it now. And what I mean compensated is it has speed compensation to hold speed under load, unlike most other machines. So I'm gonna warm it up. I've got the tubes warmed up, I've got the control on, and I got a dab of paint on the speed knob here because it's really can be a dangerous situation. There's no markings on it at all, and you can throw a part out of the machine if it's all the way to the right and starts up. It'll reach 4,000 RPMs in 2 seconds. So I put a paint mark on it. That's about 600 RPM, and it's a soft start. But I'm going to start it a bit lower, so I'll move it over there, and I'll fire it up and see where it is. I've got a heavier chuck on here, so I got to change the speed compensation for what I was doing before. So you can make those kinds of adjustments. So I'll move this lever down and the spindle should start. You hear that? It's a little overcompensated. So I'm going to let it warm up a little bit, and I'm going to cut threads. And the gearbox is quite complex in here, so I've got it in a coarse feed, and I want it to throw oil everywhere. There's no oil pump in the gearbox, but you can use a coarse feed and get those gears moving, and it'll do the splash lubrication. Now, one thing you can do on a lathe, a lot of people don't know, this machine is like a standard lathe, but high precision. So on standard lathes, they've got this lower shifting here. This one has DEF, and you can shift this lever with the machine running, and it has that same knob in a different location here as CDE, and so you can change this with the machine running. You see how fast that's spinning? So I can put it in the coarser feed there and speed it up a little bit. And it'll kick the oil around in there, in that gearbox. And it's running at 1,000 RPM there. I'll run it like that for a little bit. Now I'll hit neutral and it'll stop in 2 seconds. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to turn the speed back down a little bit. And I'm going to start it in reverse. And to do that, it can lift up on the lever. And it's in reverse. And I'm going to crank it up up to 1,000 again. And throw that oil around a little bit there. That'll thoroughly lube up that gearbox. And plus it picks up a little bit more oil in reverse. Run it through these gears here. There's E, D, C. Now that's the only knob that you can shift on the fly on the machine safely. Got it in feed here. Now unlike the Axelson, when it's in feed, there's a a belt driving this gearbox off the spindle, and it's not using the end gears. So it preserves the end gears only for threading. You can see that feed rod's really cranking. And another thing that it's doing here is lubing up the apron, because that feed rod lubricates the apron. Even though it's at a high feed, it runs pretty smooth there. Now I'm going to adjust the speed and the top speed and the speed compensation, because I'm going to be using some heavier chucks on here for a bit of time. Okay, I'll be back once it's warmed up totally. Okay, I've got the Monarch 8-inch chuck in here, and I'm a little hesitant about running this chuck up to 4,000, but I think 3,000 is fine for it. I've run it at that speed, so we'll see if it goes to 3,000. We're at 15, 2,000. 2,500. That'll go over 3. I'll back her down. Okay. Running at 3,000, 8-inch chuck. Okay, I'm going to back it down to 200 RPM. With this knob. Now see that? It's surging a little bit. Not too bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the speed compensation in the module here. And I've drilled holes. Over here is the top speed. Over here is the speed compensation. And okay, I'm gonna stop it and start it at 200. See? Now to get it to quit doing that, you gotta watch out. Don't get shocked by this stuff here. I'm going to slip this screwdriver in there. And there's a compensation pot. I got to feel around for the slot. And I'm going to back it off about a 1/16 of a turn. Okay. I'm going to try to start it again. That's pretty good. I think that's all it needs. Yep, it'll have to do just a slight bounce, and then it'll settle down without it surging. So I got rid of that, and it's going fast enough so I don't need to worry about that pot there. And I'll call it good, and I'll set it up and cut a thread here. Alrighty, I got some threads to cut here, and I'm going to do a test on this piece here to make sure I got the spindle compensation taken care of and everything's a go, because I'm going to be doing it on some expensive materials later on. There we go. Put a little ink on there. Now, I got it running. We'll run it fairly slow here. And it is running at we're running at 150. That seems pretty good. So first thing I'm going to do is get this, I'm going to touch this off, get the compound here at 0, right there, and it is on 28.5 degrees. Now I'm going to take and feed in the cross feed dial. Now it has a lock. Let's see if I can show that. Might have to get back quite a bit here. Okay. Now this cross feed dial has a lock on it right here, and then it's got a stop lock over here, this knob here. So I'm going to back it off, and I'm going to engage this lock here, the stop, the threading stop. Got this lock, dial lock on, and there it stopped. Now I'm going to loosen the dial lock. I'll take the camera loose so you can see. Okay, I loosened the dial lock, the stop is locked, and I'm going to feed the tool in. Make sure that's off until it just touches the work. Makes a little line. Right there. See, it made a little line. Then I'm going to take and lock the dial lock. And so it'll always return there as long as you don't jam it. And I'll bring it in until it stops, and it should leave a line. See? And the dial stopped at 0. Okay, I'll back it off, and I'll pull it over here. Okay, get this back on the tripod. Okay, and I think I'll bring the carriage on over to a point to where I want the thread to stop. There's a shoulder there. So that looks pretty good right there. Okay, now we'll get the gearbox set. It's a 1/2 inch. We'll do a 1/2 inch 20 threads. Stop the spindle. Look at the legend plate. And the writing is small. And second row. Very small. Right there. So it's got to be on E8. Okay. E8. And in the A range, we've got an AB knob here. Yep, just in the A range, that's in A. And we are in threads inch, feed threads, got it in threads. We are in back gear, running 150. Now I got to get it in threads here. Make sure it's locked in. Another move over is metric threads. This is inch metric, so we're in inch threads. And we'll start it up. No, didn't quite go in. It's like that. Oh, forgot this one. Okay, should be in now. I got it off feed into threads. Inch right hand. That's where it should be. Lead screw should start, and it does. We are in E8A. Pitch in millimeters, threads, feeds, inch. We're in the right spot. Okay. Now I'm going to set the automatic stuff here. Hopefully you can see me do that. I have to look through the camera a little bit too. Make sure we can see that. Okay, I got the tool at the end of the thread, and there's these dog stops here. And I'll loosen it, and I'll bring it over. Then there's a device called the fork. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get this down low. It's got a fork at both ends here. You can see this one much easier here. You'd use that for left-hand threads or a return stop, both. So the fork's on this side. I bring the dog over to just to the tip of the fork and lock it. Then I turn this knob here, which will move the stop rod and shut the lathe off. And return the spindle lever, which you can't see, to neutral, or thereabouts. Okay, now I'm going to lock this. Okay. Now, get back up high, get this moved up here. That's a little difficult jockeying this stuff around this machine. There we go. Now I'm going to set the travel dial to 0. Just like that. Just like that. Now I'm going to, with the tool backed off, it's not cooperating real well. I'm going to back the tool off. Then I'm going to move the carriage on over. I'm going to start the machine, get the carriage in neutral. Looking pretty good. I'm going to start it. Now I'm going to engage the thread dial on a number that I can remember. And that'll be like number 1. There it goes. Now we're gonna, it should stop automatically. Okay, I'll take this loose and we'll see where we stopped. Stopped in a good place. It's away from the shoulder. You can move it closer to the shoulder, We'll take a look at the travadial. It over-traveled just about 50 thousandths, or under-traveled. Yeah, it under-traveled 50 thousandths. Now, I can adjust that by moving it forward 50 thousandths and redo that fork with that knob. But it's not important here. It doesn't have to be exactly up to that shoulder. 50 thousandths is good, okay? So now we can start cutting threads. I will get this camera stand up higher. Maybe you can see it. It's really kind of difficult. This lathe's so small. Let's see. Let me move. Got a bit of a boom here. Okay. That looks pretty good. So that's where it stopped right there. So we got to leave the carriage engaged. So I'll put it in reverse and reverse the carriage. Okay, now I take in, bring the feed dial to its stop. Feed in, let's feed in 30 thousandths on the dial for a cut. Let's see if I can clamp this stuff. Okay, like I say, this is a little bit difficult. Now I put a little bit of lube on there, that wax lube. There's a lot of it on there. And we'll take the first cut. So I got the cross feed in all the way to the stop. Got the cut dialed in, and as soon as the machine shuts off, I'm going to back the tool off. So I'm cutting a thread without a stop groove. Alrighty, here we go. It's cutting, and I backed it off. Now we put the lathe in reverse to the return of the start of the thread. Now you do this with metric threads and threads that you want to cut to the highest precision, because it eliminates the error of using the half nuts, called camming in error of the half nuts. This is totally eliminated, like that is done on a hard inch. I'm going to go in and feed it in 20 thousandths on the dial. This is 20 threads per inch, and the half nuts are engaged, and so I'm going to put the machine in forward. And it's cutting, and as soon as it shuts off, I backed it out. Okay, go back into reverse. Okay, the device that's doing this is called the electric lead screw reverse, but it doesn't really do those things. It just shuts the spindle off at the end of the cut. Okay, so return the cross slide to its stop. We'll feed it in another 15 thousandths on the dial here and make a cut. I'll put it in forward. Half nuts are engaged. Here we go. All right, I backed it out there. Now we go back to reverse. And I'm going to take and file that a little bit here. Okay, at a good spot. I wanted to file the burr off that a little bit and see how it's looking. Got to go deeper. I'm going to kick it in another 15. Everything looks good. Bring it to the stop. Lube on there. And here we go. Make a cut. Now I'm withdrawing the tool when I hear the switch kick off, and that way I don't have to have a groove, a threading groove to stop in. Here it goes. Nice. See how the thread's looking? Okay, I'm going to do a fine cut on it. Return it to the beginning. Okay. I'm going to feed it in just 5 on the dial at an angle here. That little bit of lube on there. Okay. We're all set to make a fine cut here. Here it goes. All right. How's that feel? Feels pretty good. I'm going to take it to the start. Give a little room there. I'll try a nut on there. Just slightly tight. Just kind of grabs a little bit. There's absolutely no shake. Now I go by the look of the thread. How it's looking at the crest. Okay, I'm going to make a final finish cut on this, and this is how I'm going to do it. We'll look straight down onto the dial here. Now I'm going to bring it back to the stop, but instead of using the compound, I'm going to leave it where it is. And you see this outer dial right here? I'm going to loosen the lock, and I'm going by this outer dial. And I'm going to feed it in 3/1000ths, if I can. Make sure it's unlocked fully. Right about there. Now I gotta lock it again. Okay. Now it's gonna feed that tool straight in, and it'll cut both sides, both flanks. Now if you're feeding in just with the compound, it's cutting that left-hand flank, and it kind of leaves the right-hand flank choppy. Now this will finish the thread. Everything looks good. Whoop, didn't want to do that. We should be okay. Here we go. I moved that top dial, but that's okay. Okay, return it. All right, let's see how it fits. Just perfect. It rolls on without bind. A little bit of a chip there, I see. Rolls on without bind and no shake. slight shake. Very good fit though. Yeah, got a little bit of a burr there. I didn't get with the file. Okay, see that thread coming all the way through. And there's no shake to it. And that's how you want to fit specialty nuts, hydraulic nuts. And what I'm going to be making for someone is a puller. And want the threads real tight on a puller, it goes onto a threaded section. Okay, that's basically how this is done, and I hope you enjoyed that. Threading with the electric lead screw reverse, just basic. Of course, everything can be fine-tuned, and it's easier to do if you're not doing a video. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Have a good day. Okay, I thought I better throw this in. Now, this Axelson has a nice reversing spindle, so you can leave the half nuts locked in and cut metric threads or higher precision standard threads by leaving the half nuts in. But there's no dial stop like the Monarch 10EE. So, and plus the dials are plain steel and they're hard to read. So I just take a marker and mark 0. Okay, and then instead of using the compound to feed in for the last cuts, I just watch where the 0 is and then just move it manually about 0.003 at a time until I get the perfect thread. I always make a chip. And the reason I do that again is when you're feeding in with the compound at 29.5, 30 degrees or whatever, it's cutting that left-hand flank and kind of tearing the right-hand flank. So the final cuts, if you feed it straight in and your tool is sharp, it'll shave both flanks and you'll get a lot cleaner, more accurate thread. Okay, I'll be back soon enough.